Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Hagen-Botham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, Andrew Bartolotta.
Welcome back to the City Current Show, where we bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making an impact and powering the good in our community and around the globe. I'm your host, Andrew Bartolotta, and today we're honored to have Dana Wilson, President and CEO of Bridges. Bridges is renowned for empowering the youth of Memphis to become catalysts for community change, amplifying their voices and nurturing their leadership skills. And under Dana's leadership, Bridges has been a pivotal force in shaping the leaders of both today and tomorrow, with a strong focus on diversity, leadership development, and community service. Dana, thank you so much for coming on the show, and ooh-wah-wah to you.
Well, and an ooh-wah-wah to you too, Andrew. It's so good to be on the show with you and excited to have this conversation with an alum of our program.
Of course, and for those that are going in a ooh-wah-wah what, we'll learn a little bit more about that later, so stay tuned. But first, can you really start sharing with us about the founding mission of Bridges and how it has evolved to meet the current needs of Memphis youth?
Yes. So, the roots of Bridges go back 100 years. It really started as a program that was a mission of two of the Episcopal churches downtown in Memphis, so St. Mary's Episcopal Cathedral and Calvary Church. And they actually formed this mission to help impoverished, mostly teen moms, actually 100 years ago in like 1921. I'm working in what was the Greenlaw neighborhood, is now called Uptown to a lot of people here, and that's where our center is now located. We came back to Uptown around 2004, and so that our roots go really deep and have always been about serving young people. And the organization evolved over the course of decades, became an independent nonprofit in the 60s, and really exploded the work of serving young people. So working with youth, doing summer camps and career engagement programs. The program actually went national for a little while in the 70s, and then it sort of contracted, and in the late 80s we started this program called Bridge Builders, and actually that's where the name Bridges comes from the program Bridge Builders that started in 88. And the idea there was about connecting youth from different neighborhoods, different backgrounds, so different socioeconomic background, racial background, religious backgrounds, and bringing young people together and allowing them to develop their leadership through experiences. So this is not the kind of classroom experience where you get like, here's step 1, 2, and 3 about how to be a leader. It's more like, here's a rock wall or a ropes course or a tire in a tree. You never know what you're going to get at Bridges. And a group of students who don't know each other when they show up on day one build a team together. And along the way, they approach these different challenges. They succeed at some of them, they fail at some of them, but in each of those experiences, they always sit down in a circle and reflect on what happened. And through that reflection, they actually learn what it means for them to be a leader as an individual. We also, students engage in really courageous conversations. We often find students having conversations that they have never had in their lives with one another. Some of that is structured within the program, and some of that just kind of happens in between activities, whether it's at night when you're in your dorm room with your roommate who lives in a different part of town, or over dinner. So we have like lots of built-in experiences where young people can learn from each other. So it's like about leadership development and diversity. But we also are really about community transformation or community action, civic engagement. It's kind of like the buzzwords have changed over the years, but what's been consistent for us is that we want the youth who come through Bridges to understand that your purpose as a leader, sure, it is about your own growth and your own success, but really it's about our success as a city. It's really about all of us in Memphis. And so we want students to be able to listen to different points of view, see things from different angles, and work collaboratively across those differences, and kind of build a better Memphis. So there's we've been doing this for 35 years almost. So we've got bridge builders like you all over the city. And every single year we recruit about 1,000 students. That's our goal for this year, is to recruit 1,000 students to participate in our year-round program. And year over year, that's just has a compounding effect on our city.
Well, like you said, I can first-handedly talk about me as a 16-year-old. I had moved from Chicago down to DeSoto County, Mississippi, 16 years old, an introvert, not really sure what the Mid-South had for me or what the Mid-South was all about, the Memphis area. But I knew that all the cool kids in school had gone through Bridge Builders, and so I applied. And when I talk about the cool kids, it was the kids that were in United Nations, the kids that were really creative and were friends with a melting pot of people. And that's what I saw as a bridge builder. I saw the potential that Memphis has, but also the needs that it has, and how we can only achieve those goals and actions when we work together across zip codes and socioeconomic barriers. And I had heard of neighborhoods that I didn't even know existed. And I learned about people that I never been in the same room with. And when I look back at the work that I've been doing now, I guess 16 years later, which is really hard to believe it's been that long, I think about all the work that in the work that I do on a daily basis now was started there, wearing a green t-shirt at University of Memphis during the Bridge Builders program. So it's so cool to see that those 1,000 students every year are then part of this huge club that makes Memphis a better place. And it is one of the best nonprofits in our area. And I'm not just saying that because I'm interviewing you. I'm saying it because it's true. And the work that you are doing to transforming the Mid-South and Memphis in particular in the city to create a prospering, vibrant community. You're currently recruiting the new Bridge Builders cohort. Can you tell us more about sort of what that entails, what students can expect, and then like the deadlines to apply?
Absolutely. So when you participate in the program, and this, I'm saying this because it's relevant for anyone who might be listening who participated in the past. So it used to be a program where you would enter the summer before your junior year of high school and complete 2 years in the program. We expanded the program some time ago. So now we actually are recruiting current 6th graders all the way through 11th graders. So you can start participating as a middle school student and continue all the way through high school if you want. Not every student does that, which is fine, because when a student doesn't continue, it like opens up a spot for us to recruit someone new in, and it just means more students over time. And sometimes a student might do Bridge Builders for a summer and then the following year, and then they might take on a leadership role in their church or their school, and they decide, hey, I'm going to go do something else. And we're like, that's a win, right? If a young person has learned from the program and is doing a thing, that's great. And sometimes they come back, So we are currently looking for the next generation. So they apply right now. Our final application deadline for this year is in April. So we're looking for folks to apply by April 19th to participate over the summer. So current 6th through 11th graders will participate, and the 7th, so they'll be rising 7th graders once they get into the program. So our 7th through 10th grade students participate in a week-long summer conference at the Bridges Center, which is located in Uptown. It's right across the street from St. Jude. We have a ropes course in the ceiling. We have a rock wall. It's a really cool space. And so it's like a day conference for Monday through Friday for all of those students. And there's various weeks that you can apply to participate. So you'll go through 1 week, but there's kind of different options based on your schedule. And then the juniors and seniors, so the rising juniors and seniors is also a 1 week experience in the summer, but it's residential and it's at the University of Memphis. So when you come as a junior or senior, you're going to get dropped off on Monday and you get picked up on Friday. We always tell parents, make sure you come and pick them up, because we know you love to loan them to us for a week, but you got to take them home. And we have a great time with the students on campus. For a lot of students, they're staying in the dorms, they're eating the cafeteria at the college. It's just a great experience. Um, and then for all of those students, there's programming throughout the following school year. And that's because we know that that intensive summer experience is very transformative, kind of like what you talked about, Andrew. It's that those experiences that kind of really stick with you. But we also know that these experiences we provide during the school year help students interpret that 1 week experience into their daily life, right? So when you come back and you do a training, or you go and do a community action project in the community, it kind of activates your leadership and kind of helps you stay accountable to what you've learned through Bridge Builders, and helps you kind of stay on the growth journey. So we're looking for students to apply on our website. It's bridgesusa.org. And the buttons are all there. They're very clear. Apply now. And you mentioned that you had applied through your school. We have school sponsors in various schools, but if you're listening to this show and you want to apply, we recommend that you go ahead and apply straight directly through the website. Because we've removed a lot of the barriers to the program. What we're looking for in a student is, you don't have to have a required GPA. What you have to have is a desire to learn and a disposition to serve and to contribute to the program. And we always say that students get out of it what they put into it. So we highly recommend students to really think about it when they're applying. Your essay, which is it's pretty short, but that's the key piece. And then I also always tell parents that this is a great opportunity for students to build their college resume. It's the kind of thing that not only does it look good on your resume, it also kind of helps you figure out what it is that you might be more interested in, and kind of figure out what those next steps are. And I also think that it really helps a lot of students figure out what kind of their college career future is going to be. And then we also have a lot of leadership opportunities that are sort of next level. So once you get into that year-round program, we have lots of we recruit students onto different boards and additional opportunities that they can get really involved in the community through our Youth Action Center or some of our internal boards. I personally report to a youth advisory board. So I report as a CEO, I report to a board of directors, but I also report to a youth advisory board. So I have some students who have been on the board for 3 years, and they're basically my bosses at this point. So how well equipped are those students to go to college, but also they could literally step into serving on a nonprofit board and be ready to go at 17. So there's just a lot of additional leadership opportunities that come after you start the Bridges journey. And we just encourage everyone to get involved.
Well said. And when I'm thinking about the leaders that you cultivate within Bridge Builders, I think about Johnny Pitts at Higginbotham Insurance here in Memphis. One of my mentors talks a lot about how he looks to hire Eagle Scouts because he knows that they have integrity, they have leadership training, they have leadership skills, they have communication skill sets. And really, it's, if you are a leader in the Memphis area, you need to be hiring Bridges alums as well, because you know that they have those same standards, and they also have a mindset of diversity, and they have a mindset of working together across different barriers. And the work and the people that I know in our community that are making a huge difference are alums of the Bridge Builders program. So it's also great to see that you've expanded the age range as well, because you're really getting them in an age where they're really wanting to make a difference and learn, and thinking about their identity and how they want to leave a mark for our area. And so for them to start at that entering 7th grade level through high school, and then serve on different advisory boards within, and expand their reach with Bridges, is phenomenal. So talk about some additional programs that you offer throughout the year, whether it's for corporate training. Your space is an incredible, if you've never been to Bridges, highly recommend it. In Uptown, it's a super cool space, like you said, across from St. Jude, with the rock climbing wall and the ropes course. It's a great space to host events, but also for leadership training as well. So talk a little bit about that you offer.
Yeah, so our core Bridge Builders program that we're recruiting for right now is our focus. We also have some other youth programming that we do, like through what I mentioned is the Youth Action Center. So that's the kind of next level. We also do what we call connect workshops, where we go into schools and we'll do like a workshop with every freshman in a school, for example. So just to note that there are other things we do with students. But I do want to take a moment, because of your audience particularly, and talk about what we offer the business community in Memphis. So, we have the amazing ropes course in Rockwall and all these team building activities that we do with students. And a lot of those activities are really good for adults as well, for specifically teams of adults who might be tasked with really, solving complex problems and working together over time. So it's just like classic team building. And so our staff that run the ropes course in the Rockwall for Bridges also run what we call Team Bridges, which is our corporate team building entity. So if you go onto our website and you look for Team Bridges or corporate team building or team building, you can find out more about Bridges, Team Bridges. And we love to bring corporate groups out for some team building. We also do have a lot of space that isn't always occupied during the school day. So most of our time with students is during the summer and after school and on the weekends. So Monday through Friday during the school year, we can rent our space for meetings. And we love for businesses to come out and use our space for a big meeting, sometimes for a retreat. And then you can also tack on some team building to that. So you can kind of do your own thing, but also get a sort of, energizing value add to your experience by coming through us. And then when you do that, you're actually supporting Bridges, which is great. You're actually helping us train youth leaders, which is just, such a great way to do a staff retreat or a staff meeting. And then the other thing is, we do have some opportunities for corporate sponsorship. We have an annual event in the fall that's we've been calling it Sunset at Bridges, and it's a concert where we started it because we wanted to celebrate the end of summer and the sort of beginning of the school year with families from Bridges, but also we want to be good neighbors to everyone in Uptown. So we wanted to have an event where we just kind of open the doors and invite our neighborhood in. So we've done that for a couple of years. We started with our 100th anniversary celebration a few years ago. So we bring in musical acts and there's food trucks and it's just the rock walls open. And it's a free and open event. And so that's a really great opportunity for corporate sponsorship. And then we also love for corporations to sponsor our bridge builders. So, the cost for each bridge builder to have that full year experience is about $1,400, which is a pretty good bargain for a year-round program if you think about it. We do charge a sliding scale fee for families to participate. That helps us just with accountability and making sure that, folks, when they sign up, that they're serious and they're going to complete it. But like I said, it is a sliding scale fee and no one pays even close to the $1,400, right? So we actually, every year we have to raise quite a bit of money to provide this program. And then of course there are families, lots of families that are often going through a lot, and that even a sliding scale fee is not feasible in that year. And so we do a lot of fee waivers. I think on average, probably $25,000 a year of just like, we just cover even that minimal fee. So what we'd love to see is corporations coming in and saying, we want to sponsor bridge builders. So that's a great way for a company to say, I'm going to invest in this many leaders coming up in Memphis. So if anybody's interested, you can reach out to us at Bridges and we can get you engaged in that way as well. So come on out and be a part of what we do.
Awesome. What do you believe is the biggest challenge facing youth today, and how does Bridges address this issue?
Oh, that is such a good question. I think there's a lot of issues that are affecting young people. It's sort of like youth are a vulnerable population, particularly in the city of Memphis. And so, any issue that we're struggling with as a community is going to affect students in probably a unique and profound way. So we could say like our public institutions are underfunded. Young people experience that in schools. We could say that the problem of gun violence affects young people. We've seen that across the board, that that, we talk often about the problem of youth violence, like young people are committing the violence, but if you look at the data, like young people are so profoundly affected by the violence that's in their communities, whether it's affecting their families or they've seen something or they've lost someone. I mean, going through those things as a young person is very traumatic. And so any issue you see in Memphis, it is compounded within the youth in our city. But one of the things I think that we need to pay really close attention to is how technology is affecting youth development. And so, we're seeing in this year more attention, whether that's at the federal level from the Surgeon General of the United States, like raising the red flag and talking about, that we need to think about how social media is affecting the minds of young people, thinking about how AI is affecting how young people learn. I think that we're seeing our generational shifts happen faster, and it's mostly related to technology. So I think that we in 10 or 15 years, we're going to look back on this time and sort of think about this was the Wild West when it came to regulation of some of the social media platforms and things and how it affects young people. And I see it in like widespread anxiety. You probably remember when you came to Bridges, you didn't have a cell phone. Like that's still a thing. You don't bring your cell phone to Bridges. And I think that it's going from I'm upset I don't have my cell phone to it's really hard to not have my cell phone this week, and so I think that what we're seeing is young people who are inundated with information, who are constantly online. It does things to them socially. It's really hard. And so I think that's a really difficult thing. And what we do to come to, I don't know if it's to combat those things or remedy those things, we really help young people develop, right? And develop into the kind of leaders they need to be. And so, I think what we provide is a space to slow down, to put the devices down, to learn to listen to another human, to learn to express your ideas. We create a space that's honestly really safe, like an offline safe space to figure out who you are. And I think that that's like probably the most important thing or important dimension of what we're doing in this very moment. Because I hear from students, some of my youth advisory board members say to students, I know you think you can't survive without your cell phone for a week, but when you come back, you're going to feel so good. And you're going to realize that it was important. You're going to want it back. You're going to be happy you get it back. You're going to be really glad that you put it down for a few days. And so I think that's really, really critical.
Yeah, well said. And it's like you've been around for over a century, but now it feels like Bridge Builders in particular, the program is more needed than ever. With the world at our fingertips, we are still, or if not more, vile to discrimination and racial tension and poverty. And so for Bridge Builders to take away or as much as possible, bring out the noise of everything that's going around these youth, bring them in to learn the power of listening, not only to people like them, but unlike them, to develop leadership skills, communication skills, understanding diversity and inclusion of all, is so paramount to how we can not only move Memphis forward, but the nation forward. So kudos to you and your team for continuing to do that. And I can't imagine, I was looking at my document, my little workbook from 2007 before our interview, and my sheet of contact information is like, their cell phone numbers, but it's also like, follow me on MySpace. And I'm like, okay, wow, that just shows how fast technology has changed, because here I am a decade and a half later, looking at it going, we were having conversations around diversity and what it looks like to belong, self-identity, and all of these great topics that are so needed for our youth. And 15, 16 years later, like, the topics are still so important, if not more than ever, because technology has played such a huge role in shaping different silos of individuals to sit in when we need to learn from each other as a whole. So
it is more relevant now in some ways than ever before. And I think that's because students have access to so much information, but we also are kind of fed this algorithm, right, that like doubles down on a more and more narrow perspective. And so I think just that skill of being able to sit in a circle and listen to people who may not have the same opinion of you is lacking. It's not something you can generally get, you definitely can't get it in an authentic way. TikTok. So.
Correct. Finally, Dana, what message of hope or advice would you like to share with young people who want to make a difference in their community, don't know where to start, or feel like they can't make an impact?
I think the best advice I say is just start somewhere, and probably somewhere close to home, something that's close to your heart, that's personal, something that you've experienced, and just start small. When I came to Bridges 16 years ago, I was hired to be the coordinator for a international program called Peace Jam that connected youth and Nobel Peace Prize winners together. And so I got to host a number of conferences with Nobel Peace Prize winners. And I would hear students ask them questions. The students would be like, well, how did you get to where you are to win a Nobel Peace Prize? And like pretty much universally, the answer they all gave was like, I never thought about that I would win a Nobel Peace Prize. I just saw a problem and I took a step towards a solution. And then I took another step. And then I took another step. And then I took another step. And I could never have, if I had ever set out to win a prize, I wouldn't have won a prize, right? And so I think about that when students ask me, because they sometimes ask me like, how do you get to be the CEO of Bridges? And I'm like, it's the same thing. Like I never would have known that I would have gotten to be in the leadership of such a great organization. But I do know that my journey also included just challenging myself and taking the next step towards the thing that I was passionate about, that I wanted to learn about, that I could contribute to. And so that is my advice to young people, is start small and be patient, and just make each next step count.
Where can people go to learn more about the Bridge Builders program, apply before the deadline, but also make an impact and contribute to the incredible work that Bridges is doing across Memphis?
Yeah, it's very simple. bridgesusa.org is our website, and you can find all the relevant information from recruitment to how to donate or how to get involved. And we would love to hear from you.
Thank you for your passion, for you and your team, for empowering the youth of Memphis, and your dedication to fostering leaders who are ready to make a difference today and are doing so with the work at Bridges. Thank you for sharing your insights, empowering the good in our community.
Thank you, Andrew. We appreciate you having us here.